This is Chris with Bagels. Like, subscribe to Team W Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, World of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris with Bagels, or follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both of my TikToks. It'll all be down there in the description box, and I'm here to do my AEW Dynamite Winter is Coming reviews, which is December 14th, 2022 reviews. So here we go, discussing about AEW now, as everybody knows, this winter is coming. Special edition of Dynamite. They had like the NBA theme from NBC with the Christmas stuff, so yeah, they did have that playing when the show kicked on. And then we get the first match of the night. It was the fourth match of the Best of 7 series. It was Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega, the Elite, versus the AEW World Trios Tag Team Champions, Pac, Rey Fenix, and Penta El Zero Miedo Death Triangle in a 6-man tag team match. So yeah, Death Triangle versus the Elite in the fourth match of the Best of 7 series. And this match, it was a pretty good match. Now, it was probably it was story-driven at least. This is a good match when it comes to story-driven, at least because it did have a story in it. But for the best match in the series, nah. I would say A for sure. But it was still a really good match. So yeah, go check it out. During this match, Nick Jackson got injured with his ankle or whatever, doing some high-flying stuff off the turnbuckles and stuff. So he injured his ankle. He goes backstage. We don't see him for like majority of the match. Well, we get to the ending, so obviously it's just Matt Jackson and Kenny Omega fighting off all 3 members of Death Triangle. We get to the ending where Kenny Omega's trying to tag in Matt Jackson, but then Penta interferes and hits a package power driver onto him on the ring apron, taking him out. And then after he got taken out, Death Triangle was working on Kenny Omega. Pat climbs up the top turnbuckle, jumps off with the Black Arrow, but he misses because Kenny Omega moves out the way, so Pat crashed and burned. And then we see Nick Jackson make his way down back to the ring, still injured and stuff. He sticks out his hand because he gets back on the apron. He gets tagged in by Kenny Omega. Nick Jackson gets in the ring, taking on all 3 members, beating them all down and everything. And then he was trying to hit a super kick on Rey Fenix. Rey Fenix captures his foot. And then that's when Penta comes in with the hammer, hitting Nick Jackson in the ankle with the hammer, And after he did that, Rey Fenix locked on the knee bar or ankle lock pretty much onto Nick Jackson. And then while that was locked on, Kenny Omega was trying to get into the ring, trying to break it up, obviously, but Pac held him down, making sure he can't break it up, and Nick Jackson had no choice but to tap out. So yeah, Death Triangle defeated the Elite tonight in the fourth match of the Best of 7 series. That's what happened. Pretty good match still, like I said, better on the story-driven stuff, but it was still a good match. So yeah, go check it out if you haven't yet. But yeah, Death Triangle got 3, and the Elite only won 1. So yeah, 3-1 so far. And then after the match ended, Kenny Omega grabs the mic and he says, "Hold up, listen here, y'all." And Pac and them turns around, and Kenny Omega was talking about like, "Hey, since y'all like to use hammers and all that, how about this? The next match, which is next week, the hammer, it can be used in the match. It'll be legal." And then, Pac and him was happy about it, and Kenny Omega was like, "Not only the hammer, all weapons. So no disqualification." And yeah, the match is pretty much made. The Elite versus Death Triangle in the 5th match next week on Dynamite in a no disqualification match. So yeah, I'm happy that they threw a little bit more of a stipulation in it, because these matches has been pretty good, but 4 matches with just normal stuff, like no there's been weapons used obviously, but no stipulations to it. I think it'll be better. I think, in my opinion, the 7th match, because they'll probably get there eventually, but in my opinion, the 7th match should be like a ladder match. That'd be pretty cool for the titles. So yeah, but yeah, next week's match is a no disqualification. That's what's going to happen. Still, like I said, really good stuff. Go check it out if you haven't yet. For that match, I'll give it 3.5 stars. That's why I'll give it. Still pretty good stuff. But then after that, we see the AEW World Heavyweight Champion MJF getting interviewed backstage, and he was talking about Ricky Starks was talking about his upbringing in life and all that stuff. And he goes like, I don't give a damn if you was out in the dumpsters eating raccoons and stuff, little pebble and stuff like that. And that's what MJF was talking about. And then he says that Ricky Starks said that, MJF was born with everything they wanted. And MJF was like, you know what? He was right. I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I was born rich, handsome, funny, all that stuff. So yeah, that's what MJF said. But he says that he still gets the diamond ring around his finger. He still gets the world title around his waist. And Ricky Starks will not be taking that from him tonight. So yeah, that's what MJF said. Pretty good stuff though. Later on tonight in the main event, Ricky Starks will be taking on MJF for the world title in the main event. And not only that, up next we're going to be seeing the AEW World Tag Team Champions, The Acclaimed, up next on Dynamite. And still many more stuff to come. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Dynamite. See you guys later until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, now we had the AEW World Tag Team Champions Max Caster and Anthony Bowens with Billy Gunn, the Acclaim, making their way down to the ring. Max Caster doing his raps, which is always pretty funny, talking about Brittany Griner and, the situation with that and how Elon Musk will get booed louder in the building, stuff like that. So yeah, that's what Max Caster was doing, he was rapping about. But then all of a sudden, the Acclaim gets attacked by Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh and Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. They all of them comes down there attacking the Acclaim. They throw Max Caster in the ring. Max Caster was trying to fight back, but obviously they beat him down. They picked him up, held him up, and then Jeff Jarrett had the guitar in his hands and smacked Max Caster upside the head with the guitar, laying him out. So yeah, they laid out the Acclaim tonight on Dynamite. That's what happened. And then, they holding up the tag team titles, and that they're going to go after the tag team titles, Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. So yeah, it looks like that's going to be the next feud right there for sure for the tag titles, Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett versus the Acclaim, it looks like. So yeah, that's what it looks like they're playing it for. But then after that, we see another interview backstage with the Jericho Appreciation Society with Chris Jericho and all them around. Jericho was talking about how he lost the ROH World title and stuff, and then he was talking about Daniel Garcia losing the ROH Pure Championship to Wheeler Yuta on Saturday and stuff. And he was talking about how I understand that you need to pay attention and stuff to your elders, so pay attention to Sammy Guevara. And Sammy Guevara was talking about how Daniel Garcia will be at ringside for him with them, and he'll be taking on Jon Moxley this Friday on Rampage. So yeah, that's what he said. But up next it'll be Jungle Boy versus Brian Cage up next in a one-on-one match. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was a one-on-one match. It was Jungle Boy Jack Perry versus 1/3 of the ROH six-man tag team champions, Brian Cage, with Prince Nana at ringside. And it was a one-on-one match between them two. So yeah, Jungle Boy versus Brian Cage. It was an okay match. At the ending of this match, we seen Brian Cage try to hit the F10 onto Jungle Boy, but Jungle Boy lands on his feet, and then he has the Canadian Destroyer onto him. Pins him 1-2, Brian Cage barely kicking out 2. But then as soon as Brian Cage kicked out, Jungle Boy went for his legs and locked on the snare trap onto him. Prince Nana had the referee distracted because he was on the ring apron. Brian Cage starts tapping out, so the match should have been over. So yeah, he was over there tapping out. Jungle Boy lets go. He goes over there face to face with Prince Nana. Brian Cage turns him around so he can hit a clothesline onto him, but then he accidentally clotheslines Prince Nana off the ring apron because Jungle Boy ducked down, and then that's when Jungle Boy rolls Brian Cage up for the 1-2-3. So yeah, Jungle Boy defeated Brian Cage tonight in the one-on-one match. That's what happened. It was an okay match. For that match, I'll give it 2.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. Pretty good stuff though. So yeah, and then after the match ended, Jungle Boy grabs the mic and he says, "I beat big guys all the time. I beat Luchasaurus at Full Gear. Beat Brian Cage tonight, and I'm calling your ass out tonight, Big Bill." So yeah, Big Bill is W. Morrissey, which they changed his name to Big Bill. They should have changed it like Big Bill Morrissey probably. So yeah, but yeah, instead of him coming out, Stokely Hathaway comes out and he says, "You better be careful what you wish for, Jungle Boy, because 2 things will happen tonight. if you're not careful, number one, you'll get your ass whooped by Big Bill, and number two, you're going to get slapped by me. Jungle Boy gets out the ring, walking up to Stokely Hathaway up until Lee Moriarty and Big Bill comes up attacking him. They beat him down and stuff, throw him into the ring, beating him down, and then Big Bill hits a chokeslam onto Jungle Boy, laying him out. And they was about to beat him down some more up until the FTW champion Hook comes down, scaring off Big Bill and them, not getting them out the ring. They ran off from him, and he helped Jungle Boy up, and Jungle Boy and Hook stared down the Firm. So yeah, that's what happened there, and like I said, pretty good match and stuff like that. But then after that, we see Jon Moxley and the ROH World Heavyweight Champion Claudio Castagnoli and the ROH Pure Champion Will Yuta, the Blackpool Combat Club, getting interviewed backstage, and they was talking about Jericho and them, and Jon Moxley was talking about Daniel Garcia for if he wants to get involved, he'll beat him down this Friday on Rampage, and then he was talking about how Hangman Adam Page can find him whenever he wants them. So yeah, that's what Jon Moxley said. But yep, up next we're going to be seeing the House of Black in action up next. So yeah, see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, now it was a 6-man tag team match. It was Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews with Julia Hart, the House of Black, versus QT Marshall, Aaron Solo, and Cole Carter with Nick Camarado, the Factory, in a 6-man tag team match. In this match, obviously, it was quick. So what happened was, we see Nick Camarado coming up, walking up to Julia Hart, throws a toothpick at her, and she just spit and miss in his face. So yeah, he got taken out for the rest of the match because of that. And then we see pretty much Buddy Matthews and Brody King taking out Aaron Solo and Cole Carter, just beating them down and stuff, laying them out. At one point we see Brody King hit a crossbody onto Aaron Solo, like while he was sitting on the steel chair and stuff, taking him out. And then we see, Buddy Matthews just laying out Cole Carter on the table and stuff outside the ring. And then QT Marshall and Malachi Black was staring at each other. Brody King and Buddy Matthews popped up on the ring apron. And then QT Marshall started taking off his jacket, walking up to Malachi Black. But then he gets hit with Black Mass and gets pinned for the 3 count. So yeah, the House of Black defeated the Factory tonight in the 6-man tag team match. For that match, I'll give it a half of a star. That's what happened. But the House of Black looking dominant tonight. So yeah, that's what happened there. And then after that, we see an interview backstage from Renee Paquette interviewing Britt Baker and Rebel. Britt Baker was talking about Jamie Hayter and stuff being the AEW Women's Champion, that Hikaru Shida's taking her on for the title and all that stuff. But then Sky Blue interrupts her, and Britt Baker was like, "Oh, who are you?" And Sky Blue was like, "Well, you already know who I am, and I'm going to face you tonight, this Friday on Rampage." And yeah, that match got set up. So many times we always see that with the Rampage stuff in backstage interviews. It was just pointless, but it's there, But up next, we're going to be seeing Chris Jericho in action. So yeah, that match will be happening up next. See you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was a one-on-one match. It was Chris Jericho versus Action Andretti. And yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, this is like Action Andretti's first match on Dynamite for sure, but I don't know if he ever had a match like on Dark or Elevation or whatever, so I don't know nothing about that because I don't watch Dark. And sometimes I don't even watch a Rampage, so Dynamite's like literally the only one I watch, but I know for sure this is his debut match on Dynamite. But this is my first time actually seeing him, and he's really good. I like him. I think he's already got announced that he's already signed a contract with AEW. Hopefully AEW does some stuff with him, but it's just so packed there at this point with people and stuff. I don't know. But we'll go ahead and see what that happens in the future. But we get to the match. It was a really good match. Jericho started off the match by slapping the shit out of him a few times, clotheslining him and stuff. At one point, he hit the code breaker onto Action, but he pins him, and Action barely kicking out too. Action Andretti was really good. doing some high-flying stuff, split-legged moonsaults and all that stuff. But then at one point, when he springboarded off that top rope, he got caught, and then Jericho was trying to lock him on with the walls of Jericho, but Jericho Action rolls him up for the pin, but Jericho barely kicking out too. Action Andretti runs to him and got onto his shoulders and flipped him and stuff, and then he hits a running backflip or standing shooting star press kind of, where he runs up to him and hitting onto him. That's where he hits onto Jericho and pins him for the 3 count. So yeah, Action Andretti defeated Chris Jericho tonight. One of the biggest upsets on Dynamite. That's what happened. It was still a pretty good match. Jericho pretty much made him. Hopefully AEW does some stuff with him, because he's really good in the ring. I don't know how he is on the mic or anything, but in the ring he's really good, what I've seen. So hopefully AEW does some stuff with him, definitely after he picked up a big win over Jericho. So yeah, hopefully they do some stuff with him. But for that match, I'll give it 3 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was pretty good stuff. But yeah, that's what happened there. And then after the match, we see Ricky Starks talking backstage, and he was talking about how he's been working his ass off for so long after he got a broken neck and all that, and how he's going to become the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion, take home the Dynamite Diamond Ring tonight on Dynamite. So yeah, later on tonight, MJF versus Ricky Starks for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship in the main event. So yeah, that match is still to come later on tonight, and yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Dynamite. See you guys later until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, now before I talk about the match, we gotta talk about a few things. Now we see Chris Jericho backstage getting all pissed off, just throwing chairs and all that, because he lost to Action Andretti a while ago. So yeah, he was pissed off about that. But then we see MJF and Ricky Starks getting ready for their match as well later on tonight for the main event. And then we get to the match. It was Ty Mello versus Ruby Soho one-on-one. Sammy Guevara did walk out with Ty Mello, but he walked backstage. And we get the match underway. At one point, we see Ty Mello trying to walk away from the match until Ruby Soho had grab her and throw her back into the ring and all that stuff. But then we get to the ending of this match where Ty Mello had Ruby Soho up, trying to hit her finisher move, the Ty KO, onto Ruby, but Ruby catches her leg when she was coming down, and then she throws her leg down, kneeing Ty in the face, and then hits Destination Unknown onto her, and then pinned her for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Ruby Soho defeated Ty Mello tonight on Dynamite. That's what happened. It was an okay match. For that match, I will give it 2.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. But then, after the match ended, Anna Jay comes down and starts attacking Ruby Soho. So yeah, Anna Jay and Ty Mello starts beating down Ruby Soho, and then Anna Jay hits I think it was the Glory Bomb, pretty much. I think that's what you call it, onto Ruby Soho, laying her out. So yeah, that's what happened there. But then we see Adam Page get an interview backstage. He's getting checked on from the doctors and stuff, and he says that, they was asking him about Jon Moxley and stuff, and he says that, in October when I was knocked down and stuff in the middle of the ring, when I was getting put in the ambulance, he was talking about how he remembers pretty much everything, like he was facing Jon Moxley. He remembered that for the world title. They was in Cincinnati. He remembered the date and all that stuff. And then one of the ambulance guys was like, well, you missed a bunch of calls. And by the way, I seen a wall screen, and you got a cute kid, what's his name? And Adam Page looks at the phone and he goes like, I can't remember his name. So yeah, he said he couldn't remember his son's name for a whole hour. But yeah, that's what he was saying. He says that he's been hell and back, and he'll see Jon Moxley soon. So yeah, that's what happened there. And he was with Evil Uno, which was backstage with him as well, so yeah. But then we see a match getting set up on Rampage 1,000 times, like it always does. Where we see Best Friends and Dustin Rhodes and Danhausen. Dustin Rhodes pretty much is going to be teaming up with Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor, while Danhausen is going to be at ringside. They'll be taking on Trent Seven, Kip Sabian, and Butcher and Blade in an 8-man tag team match. So yeah, that'll be on Rampage. But up next, it'll be the main event, MJF versus Ricky Starks, 1-on-1 for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. So yeah, that match will be happening up next. See you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was the main event. It was the AEW World Heavyweight Champion MJF versus Ricky Starks 1-on-1 for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship and the Dynamite Diamond Ring. That's what the match was for, is the main event. And it was a pretty good match. Ricky Starks and MJF was going back and forth in this match. MJF going after Ricky Starks' arm majority of the time in this match. At one point, we see Ricky Starks hit a nice-ass spear onto MJF. And, both of them was down pretty much by the count of 9 up until Ricky Starks threw his hand over MJF, pins him 1-2, MJF barely kicking out at 2, but he locks on the Salt of the Earth onto Ricky Starks. But then Ricky Starks is about to grab the ropes with his other arm, but then MJF grabs that arm and locks in the submission hold, and Ricky Starks is trying to use one of his feet, and MJF grabs the other foot as well, and then up until Ricky Starks uses his other foot to get the ropes. So yeah, MJF had no choice but to break it up, and both of them was going back and forth again. But then at the ending, we see Ricky Starks trying to hit Rochambeau onto him, but MJF goes over his shoulders, hides behind the referee. Ricky Starks moves the referee out the way, but while the referee has back turned and all that, because he got kind of like pushed out the way, MJF hits a low blow onto him, kicking him in the nuts, and then rolling him up for an inside cradle, pinning him for the 1-2-3. So yeah, MJF defeated Ricky Starks tonight on Dynamite and has retained the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. That's what happened. Pretty good match. For that match, I'll give it 3.5 stars. That's why I'll give it. That was probably match of the night in my opinion. So yeah, really good stuff. But then after the match was over, MJF starts walking up the ramp and stuff, celebrating, up until Bryan Danielson comes walking out. He kind of gets face to face with MJF, but he starts chasing MJF. MJF starts running. He runs through the crowd and he escapes Bryan Danielson barely. So yeah, that's what happened there. And Bryan Danielson gets in the ring and he helps Ricky Starks up. So it looks like MJF's next opponent will be Bryan Danielson. I bet that's going to be some really good stuff right there for sure. But yep, it looks like that's going to be the next feud. Bryan Danielson versus MJF for the world title at the next pay-per-view, whenever it is. So yeah, like I said, for that match, I'll give it 3.5 stars. For tonight's AEW Dynamite, I gotta give it 7.5 stars. That's why I'll give it. Tonight's Dynamite was pretty good. It wasn't that bad, but yeah, it was some stuff, But yep, that's what happened there. That has been my AEW Dynamite reviews. Like, subscribe to Team W Wrestling on YouTube. Subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Bales, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both of my TikToks. And I'll be down there in the description box. And I'll see you guys later for this Friday Night SmackDown reviews. See you guys later. Until then.